He told me to try it like this because every time we're doing the recording it's too low. Okay, so we started doing a couple of halachot that has to do with tofer, with sewing on Shabbat. We discussed the laws, the guidelines of sewing on Shabbat. So I wanted to clarify one thing, but before we get into that laws, I just wanted to mention when we do vidui, when we do ashamnu, baganu, chatanu, we bang on our hearts. Why are we banging on our hearts? Why are we banging on our hearts? What is that tobek adan, tobek adan? What does that mean? Tobek adan, tobek adan? Huh? Oh, the Ben Ish Chai says, first of all, the Ben Ish Chai says we have to bang on our hearts 4 fingers under the chest, under the nipple, four fingers under, right here. That's exactly what we need to bang, he says. And he says the reason why we bang on our hearts is because we're saying to Hashem, chatanu. Why chatanu? Because my heart desires. My heart's fault. It's my heart desires. I don't want it. I don't want to go against you, Hashem. But my heart is pulling me. But I don't want to go against you. So when you say chatanu, ashamnu, baganu, you're supposed to be thinking, I don't want to do this, Hashem, but my heart is pulling me. And my heart is pulling me. You're admitting that your heart is pulling you against your will, so to speak. That's what the Ben Ish Chai says is supposed to have kavanah. Because I see sometimes people say Ashamnu, they're thinking they're doing Malkut, Kaparat Amonot. They're going, Ashamnu, boom! Chatanu, boom! And they think they're hitting themselves to erase their sins, but that's not what it is. All we're doing is we're just pointing to the heart, so it's more supposed to be the mind, the focus, rather than the hitting. Okay, that's one point. The point that we were talking about, sewing, we were talking about what's the issue of sewing. We said that if you're sewing twice, in order for you to be chayav issue from the Torah, if you're making 2 stitches with a needle, in order for you to get issue chayav min Torah, you need to have 2 soft materials that you're connecting together with a third thing, with something else, and you're doing 2 stitches. And then the Rambam says you have to make a knot on one side, even if it's a shoelace knot, it doesn't make a difference what type of knot, and another knot on the other side. So this way it doesn't easily come out. That's when you get the sin from sewing from the Torah on Shabbat. Huh? Closed. Another one opens up and goes in a loop, like a pocket. Oh, okay, so we'll get to all kinds of other cases, this case, that case. There's a lot of different cases that it discusses over here. But however, the clarification I wanted to make is, what if you're doing it 3 stitches? If you're sticking it 3 times, then it's issur from the Torah, even if you don't make a knot in the beginning and you make a knot in the end. That we didn't discuss last time we were doing these halachot. So if you're doing 3 stitches, then you can get a sin from the Torah of tofer without doing the knots. That's important to keep in mind. Now, what about using what they call the safety pin? Right, the safety pin or stam a pin to connect something. Let's say something tore and you're just connecting it with a pin. What? I can't hear you. So is this called combining? Is that called sewing? Because it's temporary and it's not really, there's no knots. You could easily pull it out. What's the issue over here? So now through a pin or a safety pin, there's a machloket that's brought down between the Ginat Varadim and the Korban Netanel, and the Ben Ish Chai seems to be more strict. He says you should not do it. It's a big machloket over here. In the end of the day, it seems like Rav Ovadia holds that there's a lot of opinions who are lenient, and they say that if you're doing only 2 stitches with the safety pin or with a pin, there's no problem. But if you're doing 3 stitches, then you're getting to a big machloket between a couple of achronim, whether there's an issur or there is no issur. So it's not so clear. It's not so clear. We said you need to connect 2 soft things, right, with a third thing, and then make it that it's not easy to come out. So now let's say you have you have a bulletin board and you want to hang out a sign on Shabbat with a pin. Huh? There's no 2 stitches over there, right? You're sticking a pin into the thing, huh? Temporary also. Temporary. So what do you say? So they asked Rav Chaim Kanievsky this question. Rav Chaim Kanievsky says, Yesh bo mishum isur tofer. It's asur because of, it's considered to be sewing. And he says he's not sure if it's an isur d'oraita or isur d'Rabbanan. Rav Chaim Kanievsky is not sure if it's an isur d'oraita of tofer. So it's interesting, according to this, if Rav Chaim Kanievsky, who knows the entire Shas and Poskim, is not sure if it's isur d'oraita or d'Rabbanan, right? Even though there's no 2 stitches, all you're doing is 1 little hole over there. So it seems it's not so clear that it's necessary to do 2 stitches or 3 stitches in order to get the Isur D'Oraita, even if you do just one little poke, one little hole. So Rav Chaim Kanievsky says, I'm not sure. On one hand, it's only one, you're sticking only one time. But on the other hand, it sticks in well. If you won't touch it, it'll stay like that forever. Right? Like if you do 3 stitches into 2 cloths and you connect them, if you don't touch it, it will stay. Unless somebody pulls on it, it will stay. So Chaim Kanievsky says on one hand, maybe it's Asur Midoraita, on one hand, maybe it's only Asur Midorabanan. He's not sure. Okay. Now what about Band-Aid? What about Band-Aid on Shabbat? So listen to these words over here. Behadbakat, everybody uses Band-Aids. A lot of people use Band-Aids, and a lot of people are not even aware that there's a problem. Behadbakat a plaster al etzba'o, using a Band-Aid on your finger. באופן שהפלסטר נקרח סביב האצבע וחוזר ונדבק על עצמו. In a way that you're putting it on the finger and it goes in circle and connects to itself. The Band-Aid is connecting to itself. It's sticking not on the skin, but it's on the skin and on the Band-Aid itself, in a full circle, right? Over al melechet tofer, you transgress the sin of tofer, of sewing. מפני שדרכן של רוב בני אדם להוריד את הפלסטר בעודו מודבק, because the way of most people is to take down this plaster while it is still stuck to your finger, ונחשב כמדביק לקיום, and it's considered to be like you're sticking it to keep like this for a while. אבל אם בשעה שהוריד את הפלסטר, הפלסטר ייפתח, but if when you're taking it off, the glue of it is just going to open, or you put it there to begin with, to very temporarily to open it up, mutar libnei Sfarad, according to the Sephardi poskim, that would be okay. Kivan she'no asur litkayem shivat yamim, since you don't have intention to keep it for longer than 7 days. But it seems like there's a big machloket in the poskim. According to the Ashkenazi poskim, for sure, if you have intention even for temporary, it's a problem. Ashkenazi poskim, I know Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach and Rav Elyashiv, they have a machloket. Even if you have for temporary reasons, it's a problem. Umnam, but if you're putting the tape completely on your hand, like this, straight on your hand, or like this on your hand, on top, right? There is no sin to sew the skin of a person. It's permitted. So according to this, if you're putting, if you have a wound over here and you're putting the tape over here, there's no problem. But if you're putting it around your finger that it sticks on itself, then there is a problem. According to everybody, if it's meant to last for a long time. If it's meant only for 1 day so it doesn't get infection, then you take it off. According to some Sephardi poskim, it's okay.